Welcome back to the grading series here on Loop Theme Park Adventures, where we look at 5 key sets of criteria that impact on your theme park experience and give each of them a grade from A+ to F-, followed by an overall grade at the end. In today's video, I'm reflecting on a visit to Adventure Island in Southend on the 14th of July. Adventure Island is very much an amusement park, with rides and attractions crammed into every inch of space available, including on the roofs of other buildings. There are 5 roller coasters in the park, headlined by Rage, the Gerstlauer Eurofighter, which opened in 2007 and features a beyond vertical drop and 3 inversions. This is supported by the 4 family coasters on site: Green Screen, Barnstormer, Kiddie Coaster and Mighty Mini Mega, which was closed on our visit. However, Adventure Island is perhaps best known for its collection of intense flat rides, with the standouts being the most recent Thrill Edition Axis, an SPF Visa Maxi Dance Party 360, or an inverting pendulum swing to you and me, and Time Machine, a ride built in-house by the park which pulls some of the strongest forces I've felt on a ride. Honestly, I thought my cheeks were being stretched off of my face. These are backed up by many of the familiar favourites you'll see at other seaside parks and travelling fairs. On top of this, there is a whole host of children's attractions. There are go-karts, dodgems and Adventure Inside, which features a few more rides aimed at the younger guests. Grading this a B-. For the size and location of the park, this is a really solid collection of rides. The likes of Rage and Time Machine provide the thrills, and there are plenty of fun attractions to keep you busy for a good few hours. Adventure Island is a seafront amusement park which sits either side of and underneath Southend's iconic pier. It's a free-to-enter park which was operating 4 of its entrances on our visit. There was no temperature check on entry, but a member of security staff did quickly talk us through some of the safety measures that were in place, such as hand sanitising stations and social distancing markers. It's a park that looks and feels as you'd expect a seaside amusement park to feel, and usually comes alive at night, so the daytimes can feel a little slower paced and slightly less atmospheric, but you still get that sense of hustle and bustle that only this kind of park can bring. Throughout our time here, we felt they were very relaxed regarding some of the hygiene measures put in place. There was no requirement to wear a mask on rides, social distancing markers were visible but there was no enforcement when guests failed to adhere to them, and the toilet facilities were a bit on the grim side. Hand sanitizer stations were in centralised areas rather than at the entrance and exit to each ride, although regular ride cleaning was taking place. This gets a D+. I can attribute there being less of a buzz to the place down to the time of day we visited, and all the ride operators were friendly and enthusiastic, but it felt like there was a fairly blasé attitude towards COVID safety measures compared to other parks we visited. Ride operations throughout the park were fairly swift, with queue times short on the majority of attractions and staff batching people quickly while also taking social distancing into consideration. There were occasional ride shutdowns while cleaning took place, which is understandable and expected in these times. The majority of staff members appeared happy and engaging, doing their part to ensure all guests had an enjoyable day. And in terms of ride availability, it was only the indoor enclosed rides and water attractions that weren't in operation, so there was a good selection available. Grading this a B. Operations were generally good for the few hours we spent at Adventure Island, with only a handful of attractions not available, and everything that was running had minimal wait times. Adventure Island features all of the food and beverage options you would expect from a seaside resort, such as burgers, hot dogs, donuts, ice cream, candy floss, and of course fish and chips, which is what we chose. A large proportion of the park's food outlets were open and serving, and with it being a free entry park, guests can also check out what Southend's other local establishments have to offer if they don't fancy grabbing a bite to eat on site. Prices were reasonable from what I saw, and the quality of food that we sampled was decent. This gets a B, a short and sweet review of the dining options there, but there isn't really much to expand on. Adventure Island offered a standard seaside dining fare and everything seemed to a good standard. As I've previously mentioned throughout this video, it's completely free to enter the Adventure Island site. You then purchase wristbands or individual ride tokens to experience the attractions, although due to the current climate, wristbands are the only available option. Wristbands are available for a slightly cheaper price when bought online and are split into 3 price points. Red bands for guests under 1 metre, which costs £15. green bands for guests between 1 and 1.2 metres, which are £18.75, and blue bands for guests above 1.2 metres tall, which cost £22.50. £22.50 for the number of rides and attractions available is pretty good value for money, and while you're not necessarily experiencing the standard of ride that you might see at one of the major theme parks, you're still getting plenty of bang for your buck. Food, drinks and merchandise prices were all reasonable from what we saw, and if you're looking for a cheaper day out, you can always bring packed lunch to eat on the beach. Rating this a B. Generally good value for money all round. You can stretch a £22.50 wristband a long way if you choose to. Equally, it's not a bad price to pay if you're only intending to spend a few hours at the park. Overall, Adventure Island gets a C. It's one of the better seaside pleasure beach type parks that we have here in the UK. It's clear that investment has been put into the areas that required it the most, and for the size and style of the park, the ride selection is quite impressive. Rage, Time Machine and Axis offer a solid top 3 for thrill seekers, while there is a huge selection for families and younger guests too. There are some downsides though, with the toilet facilities not being the cleanest and a sense of apathy towards COVID safety measures compared to other parks we visited in July. That being said, Adventure Island is still definitely worth a visit if you're based in Essex, London or the East Coast. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and get involved in the discussion in the comments below. If you'd like to follow our theme park adventures, then subscribe to the channel and enable notifications. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/looptpa and on Instagram @looptpa.